was falling asleep here. Actually, I'm not. I'm listening. I'm looking at messages. I'm having somebody pick up a ton of toys today, really rare ones. So I'm getting messages back and forth. As a matter of fact, I am texting as we speak, so I'm a little early. Let's see if a few more people file in. Is the audio okay? Let's see. How early am I? I'm like right now 6 minutes early. I'm really distracted. This is like literally somebody's picking something up and he's sending me pictures and a list. Mike of the Day of Old Toys. Let's see. Hold up. Did I ever collect tin from Mike of Day Old Toys? That's a familiar name. I may have bought like stuff from him in a roundabout way. So anyway, I don't know who else is here or coming here. This was really spur of the moment stream. I just said, let me get through some stuff. And, see what's going on. And I know a lot of people like to watch these after the fact, so it's kind of like a Saturday video. I had to be at the museum anyway, so what the hell. Before I get into the toys, this is going to be more toy focused than politics. So most people that like the toys will be happy. But it does seem, I put this up here. This is Jeremy from the Quartering. I always laugh. I understand what quartering means, by the way. Actually, it means a lot of different things. But, and I always joke that I should have the diamonding or the nickeling. Apparently, which this does not surprise me. YouTube has purged a lot of videos and demonetized a lot of videos. If you mention somebody that was hired by Bud Light and, I'm not surprised that this happened, but, I'll say this. I actually understand it, and the fact of the matter is that if you're an advertiser on YouTube, right, you get to throw your weight around. And look, everyone that can, if you have clout, right, you can do that. And Bud decided to do that. Now, whether that's, wise, I don't know. That remains to be seen. So I think, for instance, Matt Walsh's entire channel was demonetized. I think Tim Pool had a couple of videos demonetized or pulled. So they're stepping on the scale, and it'll be interesting to see the backlash, because by demonetizing certain people, they're costing themselves money too. And look, from the perspective of the advertiser, if I was advertising and people were knocking my product, I'd probably go to the platform too. If we're being honest, I'd go too and say, hey, look, man, I'm spending all this money and you're letting people rip the crap out of me. So, it's expected, in my opinion. And yeah, I'll have to leave it at that, because I don't want to, trigger the algorithms, because then this video will be, suppressed. If it's not already, I think I'm already suppressed. But I guess at the end of the day, the bottom line is that in a situation like this, yes, you can have big companies throw their weight around. Now, the broader problem I see is that what happens though when you criticize a bad movie, a bad car, any product that's made? You know, a lot of companies advertise. What about pharma companies? What if their product sucks or has side effects, you know, that come out later after the fact? Are you going to be able to criticize them? I mean, at one point, that's always the fear, you know, with advertising. And I'll kind of end this on this note. I personally can't even recall an example in my life ever from what I've always said, other than maybe buying cereal that had prizes in it when I was a kid. There might have been a toy in there that I really dug. And that was really the precursor to McDonald's Happy Meals, right? When you can get a box of cereal that had a cool toy in it, that you'd stick your arm way down in there and pull something great out of there. But other than that, I can't remember as an adult for sure, or even as a teenager, an advertising campaign that sold me on something that I had no intention of buying. In other words, like if I wanted a video game console, I didn't need advertising to tell me to go get like a PlayStation or an Xbox. I just got them, or a Nintendo. But I've always felt that the purpose of advertising is to shield these companies from criticism, especially on TV and the news. And that's why I think Farm is so big on there, because it shields them. They say, hey, look, we're sponsoring all of this content and we don't want bad news. And certainly you don't see a lot of bad news. And that's all I will say on that. Anyway, now a quick reminder for toy fans and Knights of Old. Josh went there in the 90s? Huh. Again, I do recall, like, I think they advertised in some of the magazines, Day of Old Toys, but I might be confused with somebody in Brooklyn that had a similar shop. But anyway, I'm not surprised. In fact, Josh is on a mission for me today, if you could believe it. And as a matter of fact, he might even call me. So hopefully he doesn't before this stream, because I'll have to take that call and kind of step away. Anyway, a reminder that June 9th through 11th, if you're in the Jacksonville, Florida area, that's the closest big city area to get to the collection here, the museum. That's when we will be having our first bot stock, the robot collector's version, space toy collector's version, toy collector's version of Woodstock. And that will be, like I said, June 9th through the 11th. So put it on your calendars, man. If you're going to make a pilgrimage, like, you know how they make the pilgrimage to Mecca? If you're into toys, man, that is the time to go. And look, as I speak, here's Josh sending me messages. For those that know Josh. Ooh, sweet. Anyway, I picked a bad time to do this live stream. But anyway, so that's the bot stock information. And go to the Alphadrome website. I've had it up before. And check it out. If you want more information, I put a highlight of all the sites to see around here, including St. Augustine and a few places you could stay. So I would advise it. It would be cool. Anyway, this is going to be a very short stream. And before I get to some unboxing, I also want to let you know, let me expand this out a little bit. There's this huge collection coming up, Paul Moran's collection. That's from Van Eaton Galleries. And rather than open the book, I can just show you right here. This is the collection right here. You can go to Van Eaton Galleries. Now, why am I telling you? Because there's cool toys there. And if you want to know the truth, there's not a major thing that I want out of here. So I don't have to worry about competing with anybody. But I'll flip through some of this. There's a bunch of toys sprinkled in here. There is some cool stuff. Let's see here. Hold on. Hold on. I got a message from Josh. Let's see here. Let me put you guys on hold for a quick sec. Bum, 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 bum. I'm sorry. I have to read this. This is very critical. This is serious toy business here. Huh. Yep. Anyway, I thought I had to chow my vintage toys. Hey Patrick, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. I'm distracted. But anyway, I was telling you about and I have somebody on a mission to pick me up some really epic toys today. So he's getting me messages. He's sending me pictures as I speak. And I'm thinking to myself, I picked a bad time to do this live stream. But, you know, it is what it is. I had to do it. And I'm going to go over this Paul Marantz collection. They always send me their catalogs. This is the auction house that I bought my beautiful Robbie's what do they call it? Silk screen lithograph or stone pull lithograph, whatever, the cool poster that there's like 5 or 6 in the world. So anyway, they're having this auction come up. Now I do like this this nurse here. She's a little hottie, number one, but that's not why I like her. I just like the paintings. So I'd have to read into what it is, but you guys can check it out at Van Eaton Galleries. I'm not plugging them. They just have some cool stuff there. But in this auction, once you get through this art, if they had pulp art, especially sci-fi pulp art, I'd be all over it. I wouldn't tell you about it. I'd be like, it's mine. It's all mine. They probably do have pulp art. So here's the start of some toys. You see here some of these Felix toys. I actually have this 1920s. I have it in the box. It's a German Felix. You know, not anything I have room for. So you get some Popeye toys. There's a Wimpy. Not bad. I mean, some interesting stuff. Nothing that I would go crazy. Now, here's a cheap version of that. This isn't the battery Popeye tank over here on the right, where my cursor is moving. The little tricycle is fine. The skater is fine. The bubble blower I have. This tumbler here, this guy here in the upper left corner, I'll give you a tip. If you ever get a Popeye tank that's missing, you know, the Popeye tank that sold for $100,000, if you're missing the figure, you can use this tumbler as a figure, like a replacement, if you don't have another option. He can work on it, you know, if you have somebody that knows what they're doing. And here's some Superman toys. But the whole point of this is just to show you there are some... I'm sorry, checking messages. There are some good toys at this auction besides the artwork and this other side. Like Davy Crockett. Remember when cowboys were big? Now I'm thinking, in all honesty, they're not going to promote cowboys anymore because it's like too toxic and masculine, you know, for the modern audience. Here's a little Abner for those that remember. But right, we can't promote a rugged, strong cowboy because it's just not it's not in sync with the zeitgeist today. But Davy Crockett, imagine that! Like he really probably would be considered like persona non grata today. But if those that remember Davy Crockett stuff, that was way before my time. Maybe I have to look into Davy Crockett, who he was. That if he was historic, don't kill me because I really don't know anything about Davy Crockett. I do know that over here they had chalk, but there's some cool stuff here. I just don't have a. I do actually have a shelf in the collection here. One shelf that's devoted to cowboys and Indians, which I like. Yeah, cow people. Oh God, yeah, that's what we've been, or they'll reduce it. Now I do like this fish over here. This what do you call it? Tropical fish. Just because being in Florida, it fits the theme. Thematically fits. Can I say it that way? And I actually got a rare version, an angelfish with a Japanese box that's coming. It might be shipped today, as a matter of fact. Hopefully nobody steals it on my front porch. We'll see about that. How's my mic, by the way? I can't tell with this audio. So, yeah, I might actually bid on this fish. And what are they estimating the opening bid at $30? I could deal with that. I think I could squeeze out $30, but that's the starting bid. I want to have a couple. I feel like I'm one of these weird guys that, like, if I have something, I feel it needs a partner. If I have one fish isolated by himself in solitude, I feel like he or she needs a partner, or else they'll be lonely. My little two fish toys, probably like from Too Much Toy Story, where I feel like they'll come to life. So I need my fish to have at least a pair. They want to hang out and play with each other. Hold on, another message. Check this list because I am a long. Okay, let me check it one more time. I'm sorry. I have to. Yes. Looks good. Sorry, I have to respond. Why do I hear, Anyway, sorry about that. What else do we have in this collection? Here's a big Fred on Dino. I like this toy. It's too big, really, to display unless you have a ton of room, but it's cool. If you get a nice plushy Dino, it's battery operated. It takes like 3, I believe. If you get it with the fur that's not peeling off everywhere and he works, because a lot of times it doesn't, it's cool. It's a cool looking toy. The box is huge. Mr. Magoo, do you guys remember Mr. Magoo? That's an oldie. Here's the pirate toy. I actually have that. And there's Jerry from Tom and Jerry. Huck Finn. I can't believe I know these characters. I think these are the crows down here from Heckle and Jekyll. Here's a Mighty Kong. Now, that would be a great toy if you guys like that. All right, now you have some Batman toys. This is a desirable car. No box, but it is what it is. I have this Knight Rider car, whatever they call it, the Black Knight car. That's what it is. People like that. I have that in the box. This one appears the Argentinian version. And these are the 1989 Billiken Joker and Batman. That came out after the Michael Keaton movie, The Batman. Now, I said, and somebody mentioned to me about the Mario tins. Honest to God, I'm going to try to find out if I can get like a license to make Super Mario tin robots. That would have to be like a slam dunk. And now I'm giving away my idea, and somebody might pilfer it. Not you, fellow, loyal listeners, but somebody that's monitoring this. Because I'd love to make the different versions of Mario. He would be a cool robot, and you could change it up. Like all you need is the one mold, good solid mold. It's not going to crack. And what the heck is this here? So I'll see what's involved. Maybe it's not too expensive, because how many people are going to say, well, no, it's a robot. We don't want to give you the license for that. Anyway, here's the Super Friends with superpowers. Remember they used to call them the Super Friends? And they had the Wonder Twins. Knights of Old, is that true? They're old, grumpy dealers. They're probably salty for some reason or another. That's not good, though. I agree with you. You need people to be friendly and embracing. You have to get new blood in, or else this stuff is going to die on the vine. Like the mechanical banks and cast iron toys. Really, nobody remembers them anymore. And here's Howdy Doody. I vaguely remember seeing some Howdy Doody stuff. I just remember it's Howdy Doody time. Porky Pig. We didn't get a lot of tin. They're very little, but there were some tin Looney Tunes, but not a lot. I think there were some tin banks even, but nothing like the regular robots and astronauts, all that kind of stuff. Huckleberry Finn, Yogi Bear, Fred Flintstone. So you got Hanna-Barbera stuff. I'm not big into this type of art, the cells. I used to be, but I don't think they're that collectible. And then the Mickey stuff, which I guess earlier Disney is nicer than the way Disney has become now. Now they're a pretty loathsome company. I wouldn't buy anything new Disney. In fact, if you're going to collect Disney, collect this old stuff. Don't get anything new that'll be worthless. That's, pumped out of China by the millions and has absolutely no appeal long term. And I say that even with a lot of adult collectibles. I hate to say it, but even cars. People buy these cars, they stick them in garages by the thousands. They're like, this car is going to be worth, it's going to be worth nothing. The stuff that's worth a lot of money is the stuff, I say it over and over. In 20 years, when there's like 10 or less left, then people are like, wow, that's rare. And that's when it starts shooting up to the stratospheric heights. Like some of those Hemi Cudas and or all the Hemi cars for that matter. So yeah, this is what are we at? We're almost through this whole catalog. You could open up an entire museum of just early Disney toys. I mean, I have some, but I've always been careful because you can get absolutely inundated with this stuff. Were there any Herculoids or Space Ghost toys? I don't know about the Herculoids. I vaguely remember Space Ghost, but not much, and it's the same with the Jetsons. I have that super rare Jetsons bus, and I didn't realize the Jetsons only ran for a half of a season, 24 episodes. So the toys are from that era, the 64, I think, 65. It ran for half a season, and then boom, it was gone. But then they syndicated it. It kept running over and over. So every Saturday, because back then you would get one cartoon per week on the Saturday mornings. So it would take you 6 months to go through that half a season. So by the time you got back to the first episode, you felt like it's a season 2 already. And I had no idea they only had Rosie the Robot in like 2 or 3 episodes and things like Uniblab in there. And it's pretty amazing, actually, to think. Anyway, hold on. Getting more messages. It's Josh here. Why is this? Okay, let me get that out of there. All right, so you can see more cool toys here. I'm just flipping through this fast. I'm just kind of giving you a very brief look. This is just another outlet for me to find things, but in this particular case, there's not much that I really, feel. Even that fish that I like is. There's probably a lot of other sources I could find for something like that. There's Bambi. And again, if you're into Disney, though, Van Eaton, for whatever reason, they do a ton of Disney stuff. They are wired in. They get stuff. Sometimes I feel like they get it from Disney themselves. Disney's probably like, we got to raise money. We got to raise money. What's this? Snow White production cells. You need a place to put these. I do like the scary stuff. But the other thing with Disney to me is like that they reimagine everything and they change it up and they kind of destroy the original IPs. Why did cast iron and tin toy production end? Well, they really didn't end. They still make cast iron toys, believe it or not, out of, in particular, the banks and even tin toys. They're making quite a bit of tin toys out of China and the cast iron banks. They make predominantly reproductions, but they've made some like newer cast iron toys. They made a Robert the Robot, I think, not a head, but it's like a inspired cast iron, like mechanical bank. Usually they're reproductions, but there's not a lot of it, though. The market's kind of nichey on that. But there's actually quite a bit of tin toys. If you look on eBay, the stuff from China, China's been pumping out this stuff now for at least 30 years. Well, really, since going back to made in Taiwan and Hong Kong, we're doing it from the 60s, believe it or not. So there is quite a bit. And that's it for the Moran's collection. You kind of, I blew through it. So anyway, now I'm going to skip the eBay segment today because I don't have a ton of time, but I will unbox something that I picked up. This was an eBay thing, and this is, I think, something you guys were encouraging me to buy last time. So I haven't opened it yet. We'll see if it's all that it's cracked up to be. I let the mob influence me on this decision. But anyway, if you're into any of that stuff from Van Eaton, there you go. You saw, pretty much the whole catalog. See, luckily they put this right where the seam is because I could have sliced right through it. And sometimes people that don't know how to pack will put the box right up top with no protection. In this case, they do have some bubble wrap. Oh, I have to make a mess here. Have to make a mess. Somebody told me this was small. Not that small. All right, and I have popcorn everywhere. Everywhere. All right, so if you remember, this is called the Marine Spider. And I've talked to a lot of people. They've only a couple have seen the actual toy, but nobody has seen the box. And I thought it was unusual because I remember seeing this perforation here. Not preparation like preparation H, perforation. Let me expand this here. Let's get this mouse rolling. Oh, the mouse is not, my box is not cooperating here. Let's see if I could, there we go. All right. So see this here, it almost looks like it should have been a display box. So the fact that this survived intact, got my radar up. I said, this might be something pretty cool. Just the fact that it survived like that. Because I think, and here's the other side, if you remember. And you don't see, this is the only flying saucer on the water that I've come across. Kind of tells you here how to work it. I mean, it's plasticky with a little bit of tin. But it is Gakken made in Japan. You can see here. And even this is pretty cool. So this to me indicates that they meant for this to be ripped off and displayed almost as a window box. Why? I have no idea, because it has really cool graphics on it. Let's see if I could open it without damaging it. Yeah, so in here, it's exactly what I said. There's your window, and I just assumed it. My deductive reasoning, critical thinking skills. There's your plastic window for your window box. So had you lost that graphic panel, you would have had your window. And I'm not going to mess with it anymore in this. It's actually cool just the way it is. If I try to pull this out right now, it's going to possibly rip that plastic cellophane out, which I don't want to do. But I do want to show you if I can get, there's the stickers. So the flying saucer is meant to be embellished by those stickers. That interior blue piece is the tin part, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so, this was cheap. It was a cheapie, a couple $100. I mean, not cheap, but compared to the other stuff I buy, sort of inexpensive. Now, let's shrink this so I don't scare you with my mug, and I have to check my messages again real quick. And let's see. Hold on. All right. What else do I have here besides my box cutter? This I can't get too much out because these are restored boxes. I may have to save most of this for another video because A, my time is running short. And the other part that concerns me about this, and I'll look as I do this, these are really delicate. These are just several boxes I had restored. We'll see now that I got the lid open. I may or may not be able to get to them. Inside here, there's another box, she said. I'm going to put these back here for now. No, I have no idea what these are. But I do want to show you one thing in here. Oof. So the restorer, Anthony Restoration, they were friends with Forrest Ackerman, and you can see here, edited by Brian Anthony from Anthony Restoration. They sent me this book, and it's signed by also and he was a phenomenal science fiction collector, primarily monster stuff. But this is a really cool book, and it's, let's see if I can show you. Just, I don't want to really mess this up, but it's just treasures from the Ackerman collection. He probably might have had robots and stuff too. So this is a little more difficult to get. So my advice to you is, if you like this kind of stuff, let's see if there's celebrates the life and career of Forrest J. Ackerman, 1916 to 2008. Hundreds of photographs, never before seen images of Forry and his family and his friends. Revisits the fabulous Acker mansions and the treasures that lay within, including movie props, posters, books, toys, and the best of all, the Acker monster himself. That's was it Metala Mutant? Is that how I pronounce it? But anyway, so because my buddy Brian Anthony is one of the editors of this book, I put it on the recommend buy list. You know, probably if you're into sci-fi and monsters, yeah, and pulp art looks like to be in there, and pulp art, if you look at it, goes for crazy money. So let's unwrap one box. See what the heck it is, and then I'm gonna have to call it a day because all right, so this here is the version of the smoking spaceman box that went with the blue one. Let me make this even a little bigger. So, to my knowledge, the blue had this box, and the blue and the green are the most desirable of the smoking spaceman boxes. You know what? Let me open the other ones. Since you came on here, you deserve to see them all. And let's see what else we got going on here. Robo wants more fun. Oh, I forgot about this. You know what? I forgot. I don't think I wonder if I made a video on this. Here's a perfectly. This had very minor issues, but this is the 8-man. Extremely rare. Let me get this bigger again. It had a little puncture right about there, or somewhere around here. Just a small hole. And they squared it up nicely. Now I can get my other one out of the case. It's a big box, too. And finally, yeah, I have two 8-mans, believe it or not. Both in the box. Tremendous mic. This is one of my favorite, absolute favorite robot boxes. Stunning box as far as classic robot art from the 50s is concerned. But inside here, this box is over 100 years old. I mean, and it was absolutely falling apart. She wrote a note, be very careful with it. And I bet this is Dapper Dan. I think it's from 1910. Holy moly. Wow, this box was in pieces. I mean, it was like, that's a tremendous restoration on this. Wow. I can't even believe how, if you would have seen the condition of this, this was just flaking off everywhere. I mean, most of this survived, but it was just crumbling and falling apart. Like I said, I think this box is from 1910. Just completely dry rotted. Wow. So it's a bank. Now this isn't like, you know, as cool as the, it's not as cool as the, you know, robot and space toy artwork, but it's just, I preserve this phenomenal box. It's, yeah, you can see right here, look at the patent on here. Let me see if I can get it on there. Ooh. If you can read it, it's 1910. The patent's like right around there. So this is 113 years old. So Dapper Dan is, Dapper Dan is ready to go into the case with all the pre-war toys. And now we'll put the tremendous mic over here. And that is your unboxing for the day. I'm going to try to keep it very short and non-political today. And if you join me later, I'll recap that the only thing that was even mildly political, I said, there seems to be a push by YouTube to censor and delete videos that had to do with that beer that hired that one particular spokesman that nobody likes. And they've demonetized entire channels and deleted videos. And again, my opinion is these advertisers that have a ton of money that they're spending, I think a lot of it oftentimes is to have the clout to be able to call these companies and say, hey, I'm spending a boatload of money and I don't want this stuff on there. And they exerted their clout to get this stuff removed. I just hope this isn't a trend because I'm afraid other companies can say, hey, look, we advertise our movies on there, and all of a sudden you got a bunch of people that don't like our movies. I mean, hell, who's to say that a politician down the road can't say, hey, I'm running a campaign, I'm spending you know, $500 million to run for president, and I'm advertising on your platform on YouTube, and I don't want this particular person that's attacking me all the time. I hate to use that slippery slope cliche, but really we shouldn't allow anybody to be able to dictate what can and can't be said publicly on these public forums, because that's what they are. So the public square, the modern public square. So that's kind of scary, but we'll see where it goes. So now we all have to use our language creoles to work around this stuff, or else the algorithms will even be worse than they are. But anyway, my friends, that's it for today. And while we were talking, I had, and somebody actually mentioned his name, Josh did me a big favor and picked up a bunch of really awesome toys, which I'll be looking forward to sharing with you in the coming weeks. It's not going to be anytime soon because it's going to take a while for me to get them shipped. But it's amazing to think that while I'm doing this, that happened simultaneously. And, I was answering his text the whole time. They will rebound with, I think even saying their name, and they have been, but you know what? There hasn't been a case really where they've demonetized. Let's use movies as an example, right? There's channels that have gotten absolutely enormous, whether it's Nerdrotic or The Critical Drinker or all those affiliates that do the Friday Night Tights with them, right? Geeks and Gamers. And I mean, they're all like anywhere from, on the lowest end, even that call him Chatto, right? He just got to 100,000 subscribers, all the way up to Critical Drinkers 1.3 that I know of, and there's probably a lot that I don't. But they grew their channels just predicated on criticizing TV and movies. Now, though, you set this precedent. Yeah, it is new territory that you can let a company that advertises there dictate who you can and cannot have on your platform. And I think if we're being honest with ourselves, YouTube probably for the longest time doesn't want these types of channels, including mine. I have a feeling they don't like, my type of channel. They don't want, the wrong gender and the wrong skin tone anymore, what they perceive as to be wrong. So it doesn't surprise me that it's very hard to pick up steam. But having said that, there are alternatives, right? You can go to Rumble, you can go to BitChute and Odyssey, to name a few. But for whatever reason, they haven't, exploded off the bat. But, if eventually, if you knock everybody, right? If you knock, say Tim Pool, The Quartering, and Styx, and, the Scott Adams, and all these types of channels, and the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, guys like that, eventually the platform will die out, right? Because it'll turn into cable TV. So there is some, how can I say, leverage that if all the creators got together. But that's the problem, is that I'm just a small fish. A small fish, but I have the resources, more resources than all of those probably put together. But having said that, for their sake, they should probably band together, because you know what? If you made a counter push and said, look, we're not going to take this crap, we're all going to leave. That's probably what you would need. You would need all those big, when in totality they add up to 10 million subs, 15, 20 million subs, to just say, hey, we're going to go. That's a lot of revenue. They, take a huge cut of the super chats and make a lot of money. If you took all that money out of the revenue stream from Google, they wouldn't be happy. So that's about the only thing you can do. Or else it's like they're boiling the frog slowly. It's like a little hit here, a little hit there, and people are just too slow to respond. But anyway, that's my opinion. Let's see, before I sign off, let me see Archimedes, you can't tell people about water displacement. That's true. Galileo, you can't tell people about celestial objects. That's true also, especially when they cloud up the sun, in my case, when I see him flying. That's a joke. Well, sort of a joke. Yeah, look, I asked Styx, who's like one of the big BitChute guys. I said, put me in touch with that Ray Vahi, whatever. Tell him I'll make an offer for BitChute. And, I actually sent them an inquiry myself direct. I said, hey, would you be interested in selling, if I had controlling interest, I mean, just to preserve it. But you're right. You can get a stupid offer that, sometimes you can't say no to. I mean, even my house, my wife and I moved 15 times, I think, since we've met. And we're kind of in our like forever home right now. But the prices have gotten absolutely stupid where we are. Stupid. Now, if somebody came with like an insane offer, I mean, it would have to be sort of insane, 5 times what we paid when we paid a lot. So it would be like a huge, huge profit. I mean, would I be tempted to walk away? Probably. Oh man, you never know. If I can get this museum to pick up, that's the either that or get a freaking farm. They ended up, the farm deal fell through because they sold 2 of the adjoining plots of land, and now they just have the farmhouse, which only has about 20 acres. So that's kind of a non-starter for me. And I couldn't get somebody to really committed to do full-time maintenance, and I didn't want it to be another headache. But you never know. It's trying to push this museum. That's like my key right now. Twitter. I'm not big on Twitter at all. So I would say that, there's less censorship, that, it's a little more friendly for, maybe like, I don't want to say conservative point of view, just a more libertarian point of view. You seem like not to get suppressed. Obviously, the left doesn't like it. I mean, he's done some things like expose some things, which I thought was pretty interesting, that he had the stones to talk about what what the government did as far as intervening, and whether it's information and getting records and things like that. I'll tell you, for me, it's scary, though, because at the end of the day, they could get your DMs, they can get your emails. When I say they, pretty much anybody. You could get hacked. I'm not convinced that this Matt Walsh scenario where he got hacked, that was just some random hacker. It's too sophisticated. We did the old SIM card swap. Well, what the hell are you talking about? Like who's sitting there like, oh, I'm going to, that seems like very targeted to me. I mentioned it to Styx once. He's like, yeah, I got my opinions about that. I do too. I think like it's not that random to me. When a giant corporation started getting pinched really bad, with their campaign, and all of a sudden the guy that was leading the charge gets hacked, and he's effectively demonetized now, and he's pretty much off every platform. It's a little too coincidental. I don't think it's just some random hacker. It's somebody that had a lot of experience, knowledge, skill. I'm not going to claim and make any accusation who I think, but I just don't think it's some random dude sitting in his basement that like, yeah, we can, or it's an inside job BS. I don't believe that. That's why be very careful what you type to people. Be very careful what you message people. Things last forever. Somebody can, pretty much look at whatever they want. And even if the platforms are, say Twitter, you don't know one subversive person working there that doesn't like the new ownership, doesn't like a certain group of people, whatever type of people it is. They could always, bug out, get in there and look at your stuff. So be careful. Anyway, I better run because I'm getting text again and again. And this is from Josh, Knights of the Old, just so you know. So if you know Josh, send him a message and say, hey, we heard you're texting Oz. So Yeah, for sure. Anyway, listen, everyone, enjoy the rest of your week, and I appreciate, as always, you guys joining me. And hopefully, I'll get a chance to get on a regular schedule and do these with a little more consistency. But until then, I appreciate you guys that joined me. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and Sunday. And with that, my friends, I'll talk to you later.